What is up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, April 3rd, 2019. I hope you're doing well today. What is it? Second day of this little run for cryptos. Bitcoin currently trading 50.50, 5,050. And we're going to talk about Bitcoin in this video. We're going to look at the charts. We're going to dig into the charts. We're going to dig into Litecoin charts as well. If you're a replay viewer, as always, check the pinned comment down below in the comment section, and I'll have some, easy timestamps so you can kind of cruise over and skip the intro, if you will. I'm going to give it just a couple of minutes to get some people in here, so you can watch that happen, and you can stare at my weekly chart or monthly chart, or you can go to timestamps. But I appreciate you being here. What's up, everybody? We have Mexican Charlie Lee, Steven Herzog, Dylan Martinez, Steven Pitcher, Bladine, Samir, Michael Spring, Emilio Wendell. Hey, everybody. I appreciate you guys coming by. I figured I'll enjoy it while it's happening, right? Enjoy doing some live streams in the midst of bullish and bearish undertones to the charts, like this tug of war back and forth right now, especially in the last few hours. So, really, at the end of the day, dude, Drew Blood 21 in the house. Drew Blood, I haven't seen you in forever, dude. Welcome to the live stream, Drew Blood. I see the bulls have caused you to emerge from the shadows. So, we're going to talk about charts. I want to start this live stream and kind of just read over some news real quick that I found interesting today. And yep, we got Alonzo Rodriguez. We got Silver Dollar Bill. We have AD Edits. Thornton Plumbing, what's up? It says, what's up, Dan? Still here, seeing some awesome gains. What to do? Isn't that the question of the century? What to do? If you look at Twitter, I posted a couple things. This was right before I think we broke through $5,200 earlier. Carefully watching Bitcoin test right below huge area of resistance. I talked about yesterday at $5,200. A 4-hour close above would be interesting. A daily close above would be wow. And you see, I think I have a 4-hour chart open somewhere. You see very clear resistance at that $5,200. Much expected, and not a bad thing to get an immediate rejection at that level, right? So that 4-hour candle rejected, and it's nice to see some short-term consolidation at the end of the day, and we're going to talk about that. And then Litecoin, I tweeted this 10, 11 hours ago. I said $70 Litecoin is now always in the back of my mind as the beginning of heavier accumulation upon retracement. We'll watch for support there, meaning it's in the back of my mind now, $70 Litecoin. I want to see if we get a pullback in that vicinity, that's where I begin my accumulation, if you will, on the heavier side. Even if Litecoin sees $100 in the coming days, my eyes are on that $70 area pullback, and we're going to talk about that in regards to Litecoin in this video as well. So, I guess let's start the video, right? Let's start 4 minutes in. I came across this article. Actually, David Schwartz, project director, I saw he posted it on LinkedIn. The rundown. Russians bought $8.6 billion in Bitcoin, says Kremlin economist. Have you guys read this? OFAC sanctions. Here's the rundown of the article. You're going to love the third point. OFAC sanctions will push Russia to Bitcoin. Others say Russian government buying Bitcoin makes no sense. Bitcoin price, $2 million by end of 2019. I love it. I love it. It's not going to happen, but I still love it. I love reading that. So Russian economist Vladislav Ginko is out with another bold claim. This time he says that some companies and wealthy individuals in Russia have bought $1.8 million or 1.8 million Bitcoin. About $8.6 billion. OFAC sanctions will push Russia to Bitcoin. Ginko doubled down on his previous comments. He told Bitcoinists 1.8 million BTC were bought by Russian companies and wealthy Russians. There's no direct involvement of Russian state, but some who buy Bitcoin are awaiting that the increasing U.S. sanctions will make impossible to do international transactions as usual, so they purchase Bitcoin as a way to circumvent U.S. sanctions. Interestingly enough, many people across the industry are talking about governments beginning to accumulate and buy in bulk Bitcoin. So this article kind of speaks to that talking point. And it continues. Others say Russian government buying BTC makes no sense. You always have the flip side, and not even just in regards to Russia, but other countries. And here's the tweet. Bitcoin price $2 million by end of 2009. Ginkgo also believes that the weight of Russia's BTC involvement will push Bitcoin price to stratospheric heights before the end of 2019. According to Ginkgo, BTC will top $2 million by the end of 2019. What is that, like 9 months? Dude, $2 million by the end of 2019. I don't think so. I really don't. If it happens, it's amazing. But it's not going to happen. So here's, he replied to this tweet. He said, when I've predicted that Russia's rush to avoid sanction will bring about $2 million per Bitcoin at the end of the current year, many were stalled. But Moscow has already bought 1.8 million BTC to secure oil and gas deals when US will be banned by OFAC for Russian companies. So that's, I mean, the article has like a little bit of a mix of like just solid content to discuss in terms of Bitcoin news, but also obviously this guy predicting $2 million by end of 2019. I'm not hating on him, but it's definitely not something I would agree with. You can see my reaction here. I put amused because after I was done reading the article earlier, I was just like, I was smirking a little bit. I was like, I love crypto because especially because of guys like Vlad here. So that was that little bit of news. And then we had an article I just saw on TradingView, so I clicked it. Bitcoin's push to retake $5,000. A new trend or nothing special. I really like that article. I really like the title of that article. A new trend or nothing special, because well, that's really the question here, this $5,000 thing. And if I were to kind of put a guess from my perspective, $5,000, in my opinion, will not be the new, it's not going to be the new $4,000, right? And if you go and you look at Bitcoin chart, so it's, in my opinion, it's not going to be the new $4,000 here where we're just kind of like testing it and testing it over. It's not going to be the new $6,000, similar to when we broke below $6,000. I don't think $5,000 are going to be around long either way. So what I mean by that is we're either going to break to the upside and be, you know, well above $5,000, or we're going to retrace back to the downside. We're not, $5,000 I do not think will be a new talking point in crypto for very long, at least, in my opinion. So and we'll talk about that. Like I'll show you on the charts why I think that is. So, I mean, there's some, sorry, my phone went off. There's some things I want to talk about in terms of, I guess, setting up the TA for today. And it's like, it was tough. I was like, I really want to use this video for setting the tone, for setting context to today's technical analysis. But I'm like, I'm also kind of like, well, I don't like to do this because I don't want people to think I'm patting myself on the back or saying I did something amazing, because it really was nothing amazing. We were just tracking a pattern and it broke to the target. So then I was just like, dude, Dan, you can do whatever you want. Poseidon Lou, 0.11 LTC super chat for the win, for the Launchpad Foundation. Sarah, ring the bell. Ring the bell, babe. Get that bell, ring it. We just got a Launchpad Foundation. Sarah just walked by and I was like, get that bell. We have a bell. I'm telling you, I'm going to start ringing the bell every time we get Launchpad Foundation donation. So appreciate it, Poseidon Lou. So I was kind of like, wait, I think she's coming. Let me hear that bell. Sarah, you going to ring the bell? see this? I'm creating something here. That's why you guys have to be patient with me. This is a new thing. This is spur of the moment because of Poseidon Lou. There it is. There it is. The first ring of the bell. All right, that's enough. So it's now a new tradition on the show. Hopefully you could hear that. So I was basically like, we had a break to the upside, right? And we track these patterns, and I was like, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to. Talking to myself, you can show this because it's everything that we've been talking about. It's everything that we've been tracking. It's all the hours we've spent like just doing these videos and tracking these patterns. Heck yeah, let's see what happened. Let's revisit how this has progressed over the last 3 weeks. So let's take a look at this video real quick. It's not very long. It's just a few seconds. Let's take a look at the clip, and then we'll talk about it in terms of the charts and what it means. Start on Litecoin, and then we're going to check out Bitcoin. This was March 6, 2019, around almost a month ago. A little less than a month ago. Back to where we are now, we have a bit of ways to go. But for Litecoin to the upside, a break to the upside above this longer-term trend line that stems back to the beginning of December, what we'll see is potential breakouts if we do get a break above this trend line and kind of a bullish run for Litecoin. We're talking to close to $90, right? And this isn't like tomorrow. This isn't, I'm not saying this is going to happen next few days, but this is a target to the upside that will definitely bring Litecoin 50 EMA to cross the 200 EMA. That's the kind of move Litecoin needs. It needs a very strong move in order for that to do that. So $54 Litecoin around a month ago, we hit our target $90 to the upside. It happened. Now we go to 7 minutes and we look at Bitcoin. What can we anticipate for Bitcoin to the upside? And Bitcoin to the upside, we could even track an actual current pattern happening right now, potentially, with the inverse head and shoulders that we see on the daily chart stemming back to December. Left shoulder, we have a head, potential right shoulder. We've talked about this on this channel, I think, probably back here towards the end of February. Possible right shoulder in formation right now with a right shoulder bounce on the 50 EMA and up through the neckline. That's the bullish scenario. And, you know, simultaneously, Litecoin will most likely be doing something bullish as well. So Bitcoin on the upside from where we are now, that target is around 31% to the upside. It's also just above the 200 EMA. Now, a move like this would certainly get this 50 EMA to... So there it is. That's the Bitcoin setup, trading at $3,800 around a month ago. We got those gains, $5,000 to the upside, and we hit our targets. We hit our targets, and I want to talk about those targets because the Litecoin target, since I made that video, since we were uptrending, right? And you can see we're trending up along this upper trend line. If I can get to a chart that has it. This upper trend line, the breakout target moved up simultaneously. So we're going to talk about that in this video. So let's do so. Let's start on Bitcoin. There were some things I noticed on Bitcoin, and I wanted to show it, and I shouldn't say never. I know I brought up the monthly chart before, but this is the monthly chart for Bitcoin. Here, back here is the last bear market. Here is this current bear market. You see the similarities, right? We've talked about, I mean, we've dug in and compared 4-hour charts in this region, and that's not the right brush, in this region right here, and compared it to 4-hour charts in this region back here, and the synergies are incredible. The same thing goes for Litecoin. We've really anticipated these moves that are happening right now, even this bottom range that we're in, by revisiting the historical data here. And so we get a picture on the monthly charts of what the bottom looked like at the end of that bear market. We have this long-term trend line, similar to this long-term trend line we're talking about in all of our technical analysis videos. But I want to point something out that I just noticed on the monthly chart. And By the way, this is nothing like, this is nothing crazy. It's nothing in depth. And I do want to point out also before we talk about this, look at the stock RSI, the RSI, the MACD on the monthly chart. Do you see the upside potential in the very zoomed out long term? It's beautiful. So if you ever need that perspective, don't even zoom out on the daily or weekly chart. Zoom out on the monthly chart to get an idea of what lies ahead. We're still an oversold area on the stock RSI. And it really kind of gets me excited looking at that because there's so much upside potential. It's insane, right? So all-time highs can lie ahead, you know, going into 2020, 2021, whatever, on the monthly chart. All-time highs can be right here, right? In this area, somewhere. Keep that in mind. So let's get back to the chart. The one thing that I noticed, what is it? It is this. We have, and we've talked about in the zoomed in versions, the bottom channel, right? Right here. And we've compared it to this bottom channel right here. And if we look at the monthly chart, we look at this trend line, look at what is currently happening right now, literally, like this part of this month, this part of this monthly candle, we're getting a slight break to the upside through this trend line. And essentially, that was pretty much the beginning of the end of the bear market. When that happened, when the similar move on the monthly chart happened in that last bear market. And interestingly enough, let's look at this even, time frame wise. We have this large move, right? We have this large move in this candle right here. And let me just make it a little bigger. Last bear market, large, I mean, insane move. Let's measure this. Around 32% to the downside, with a wick actually 50+% to the downside. And then after that, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th month, Bitcoin had a great month and broke that trend line, right? It pierced that trend line. And that really, if you look at the monthly chart, it's the most simple, minimalistic chart you could possibly look at for Bitcoin long term. And you see clearly that marked the end of the bear market, right? That is when technically, if I was doing YouTube videos back then, I could start talking about a potential bull market that lies ahead. And what I mean by that is it lies ahead, right? It's not like we're automatically in a bull market, but really we can start, you know, anticipating the momentum long term to the upside. So this time around, we had a candle, huge monthly candle to the downside. We all remember that break below $6,000 that everybody's watching. And we're talking around 35%, 45% if you measure that wick right there. And then after that, recently, this bear market, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and similar, exactly like the last bear market, this 5th monthly candle. This 5th monthly candle breaks to the upside and pierces, as of right now, right? Pierces the trend line, this long-term trend line that really defined and illustrates pretty perfectly the bear market. So again, just now on the monthly chart, not the 4-hour, not the daily, not the weekly, but now on the monthly chart, again, something so harmonious. This Bitcoin chart zoomed out looks like a piece of art. It flows so nicely. The clues have been in front of our eyes. They're currently in front of our eyes. And that's why we've been using this data. If you don't use data, I don't know what you're doing as a technical analyst. You have to use data. You can't just use bullish or bearish emotion. You can only use data. So the data we have is really solid, in my opinion. And if we look at this now, we have this question of what's a retracement going to look like, right? Because we had a retracement after this nice month through the upside of that trend line. We had a retracement back to the trend line. So that's something I think we should all mentally prepare for. And Michael Manfro says it looks like art because it's Fibonacci. It's math. 100% agree, Michael. And it's one reason I love Fibonacci. I love how Fibonacci is used in art. It's used in music. It's used in so many facets of life. And agreed, 100%. So check it out. Even if you look at actually this kind of bottom range that Litecoin or Bitcoin was in, right? Right here, we had pretty much a bullish pattern forming over months, which is the symmetrical triangle that broke to the upside. It broke and simultaneously broke this long-term trend line. This time around, we didn't have a symmetrical triangle, but what we did have, you see on the screen, and we've been doing technical analysis videos about it. It's a ascending triangle, another bullish formation, a great formation in terms of reversals, as is the symmetrical triangle. Ascending triangle can be a continuation pattern, but it's a continuation pattern in an already upward moving market. It's a bullish continuation pattern. It's not a bearish continuation pattern. A bearish continuation pattern is this one, the descending triangle. And you can see it was a continuation pattern to the downside. That's what that looks like. But since there was no continuation in the ascending triangle, there was currently, at least right now, as I do this video, there was a reversal, right? And we got that bullish break to the downside. The chances were higher, maybe probably around 70% or so, that it would break to the upside, as opposed to break to the downside. So the monthly chart offers so much to really look at and watch in this market. And we never really look at it much, but I found those few little data points, and I really think they're valuable. So before I leave the monthly chart, again, actually there's something else I want to point out. You can actually see the retracement. Really, we didn't have a 50 moving average yet, this blue line on the monthly chart. But you can see not only did we revisit and test this long-term trend line, but essentially Bitcoin found support at the 50 moving average, right? So those two data points we can use in terms of when we're talking about, because I'm sure we're going to talk about, if we get a continued uptrend, we're going to talk about whenever Bitcoin gets up into this area, right? Like up here, we're going to talk about a revisit to this trend line. And simultaneously, the 50 EMA or the 50 moving average can be somewhere around that same vicinity. So that's obviously getting way ahead of ourselves, but it's something we're going to look at. So that's Bitcoin on the monthly. It's an awesome looking chart. And we will continue to actually revisit that, at least to start a video. So Bitcoin right now on the daily chart, we have pretty simple things going on, right? And a lot of it we started discussing yesterday, which is, and it looks like, so right now we have this new daily candle right here, obviously. And I mean, if you saw yesterday's live stream, if you watched yesterday's live stream, what is cool is the fact that as of yesterday when we were doing the stream, we basically hit our inverse head and shoulders target of around $4,900. And Liquid Canvas with a $5 super chat. Dan was right. Admit it. Keep it up. Litecoin, Rightcoin. I like it, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. I wasn't right. Really, it's just a pattern that's forming on the screen was right. I just threw out the data to everybody and said, here are the targets. So appreciate the super chat for the LAUNCHPAD Foundation. You are awesome. And I really appreciate it, the Liquid Canvas. Thank you for your support, my friend. So what's cool is we did the live stream last night, and it was kind of like we had just broken 5,000, right? And we hit the inverse head and shoulders, the height of this head to the neckline. We hit our target for that. But what we didn't really hit was that $5,200 mark, which was that target for our breakout of the height of the ascending triangle breakout, right? So that was up here, $5,200. We hadn't hit it yet. But I did tweet earlier when we finally did hit it. or when we were getting ready to hit it, I should say, because Bitcoin was literally just below it. 5162. Bitcoin was at 5162 when I tweeted it. That red line was our $5,200 area. And I said, carefully watching Bitcoin test right below huge area of resistance I talked about yesterday at $5,200. You always look for resistance at a target price, right? And that was a big target price, $5,200. I said a 4-hour close above $5,200, if it gets there, would be interesting. It would be one of those things where I'm kind of like raising my eyebrow a little bit, like, is this run going to continue? Samir, super chat, $9.99. Samir, thank you so much. If you want to know the future, look in the past. I like it, dude. It's so true. And we just literally said that. Take the data from the past, and it really gives us insight into what to anticipate for the future. So thank you, Samir, for the super chat for Launchpad Foundation. It's incredibly generous, and I appreciate you. So that 4-hour close, above $5,200 would be interesting to me. A daily close above the $5,200 area would make me say, wow. And it would have. Like earlier when we were at $5,200, I didn't think it was going to last that long. And you can see if we go to the 4-hour chart here, it didn't, right? There's that 4-hour candle we hit, and it's perfect. Like, this is what we are not surprised by. We're more surprised when we actually continue through that $5,200. That would have me more surprised. But this consolidation right now taking place below this $5,200 line right here is not surprising. It's quite normal, right? Before Bitcoin breaks $5,200, it's going to at least test it once, if not 2 times. So, for me, it's actually comforting just to kind of see Bitcoin slow down a little bit. As much fun as I was having, it's healthy, right? The more you see these green candles stacking on top of each other and just like looking insane, the more you really become worried. And you can really think about it as like a house, or like a house of cards even. Like, if you don't have a foundation and it's just like very thin, it's probably just going to fall over, right? There needs to be foundation. And so from a technical perspective, there is foundation, right? So we obviously, Walter JC, $4.99 super chat. Walter, appreciate it, dude. I really do. I've been seeing your name all through the bear market. I appreciate your support for the Launchpad Foundation, and I appreciate you. Poseidon Lou said $5,300, Dan. Yeah, so 53. So we wicked up to 53.48 on this chart, or 53.45 or something. But obviously did not stay there long. And we most certainly didn't get a close above, on the 4-hour, above $5,200. So that would have been that first thing that would have been interesting. And since then, we've come down a little bit, right? Litecoin was, me and Poseidon Lou were texting literally as Litecoin was making its little run. It was like, he texted me, I think 96, he's like $96. And I was like 90, 98, 99. And then it went back down. And then obviously like an hour or two later, it was like $80. And we're going to look at that on the chart. But consolidation, everybody, it makes sense. It is what it is. It happens. And actually, speaking of that, this was from earlier today when I tweeted. Litecoin was around $83 and, kind of still climbing. And I just put out there, I wanted to throw this out there just because, it's important. Like, if in my mind, I'm anticipating a pullback, I want to share that with you, with all of you. So I said $70 Litecoin is now always in the back of my mind as the beginning of heavier accumulation. Upon retracement, we'll watch for support there. And what I mean by that is, just for me personally, $70 is where I start being like, I'm gonna accumulate a little bit, depending on the momentum of the move to $70. Even if Litecoin sees $100 in the coming days, my eyes are on that $70 area pullback. So let's discuss that a little bit. And then we'll look at this daily chart zoomed out, because there were a couple points on that I wanted to make. But let's talk about my tweet real quick. So, and it's really simple, my tweet. There's not a lot to why I said that. It's very simple from a technical perspective, technical analysis perspective. So the reason I said I'm anticipating a $70 Litecoin, and we wicked down into $76. So this might not have even been the move that I was anticipating. This move that I'm anticipating could come in a couple weeks, right? After maybe even more gains. I don't know. But that $70 area is an area I was talking about, simply because what do we have? In every pattern, we always talk about breaking to the downside or to the upside. We are always anticipating a move back to whatever barrier was just broken, right? And there's no real defined time frame on when that will happen, but we're always looking for a move. In a picture-perfect technical analysis world, what will happen is Litecoin in this scenario will hit its target at around $108, $110, and then bounce off of that as resistance and come back down to test this trend line, right? That's in a picture perfect, you look back on a year, you look at the pattern, how it played out, that's what it would look like. But there are no set rules on how things play out, right? So especially in crypto from a technical analysis perspective. So my target for Litecoin on the upside remains in that area, that breakout target to the upside. It still remains there. So I showed a clip a little bit earlier talking about, it was that video I did March 6, 2019. That video from around a month ago, we were talking about a $90 Litecoin target to the upside. The reason that changed to a higher price is very simple. It's because this chart is higher than it was back at the beginning of March, right? So the breakout target price moves higher. So just want to throw that out there. That's why the price target is different, but the rules of the price target to the upside breakouts aren't different. They're the same, and that's where we're at with this price target. So right now, if we really zoom in on Litecoin 4 hour, you can see Litecoin with a nice consolidation. And I want to take out on the Fibonacci from, we can take it Fibonacci from right there to swing high. And we can even look, even on the short term, there is confluence with, and this is the 4 hour chart, the 618 and the 786. There's confluence with that $70 area to that intercedes with the upper trend line. So for pullback's sake, that is a great target area for just that first level of support to watch for. And if momentum looks good, and if volume, depending on volume as well, that is a part where I tend to start accumulating and buying that dip, right? So at the very short term, we've already technically got a visit to the 618 area, just above it in this wick on the 4 hour. And we got a huge bounce off of that area once it was in the 70s. So that says a lot in my opinion. So that's kind of what we're looking at on the 4 hour for Litecoin. And then on the hourly, I really don't watch hourly, but I have it open because I was watching it earlier when it was going crazy. And you can even see that area where we bounced off of on the 1 hour chart, that's the 50 moving average. So yes, in these high volatile, quick moving scenarios where Bitcoin's going crazy, Litecoin's going crazy, moving averages are awesome to look at even on the shorter time frames. I know most of you know I'm not the biggest fan of shorter time frames just because I don't really trade. I accumulate and I try and buy the dips, but in these scenarios when it's just going crazy and crypto is all over the place, then the hourly chart works well. And all over the place, I'm talking about within hours, Litecoin was down 23%. That's crazy. And then from that low, Litecoin was back up currently 16%. Do you like that is volatile? That's insane. So that's that. That's that on Litecoin. I want to actually go to Litecoin on the daily because I just wanted to point something out, which is this. First off, Litecoin looking awesome, right? I love this chart. I love this chart of Litecoin. Just zoomed out on the daily charts. Wow. So the 200 EMA, it's all about the 200. I always say EMA because I used to use EMA a lot, and I still do. I just right now have the moving average, simple moving average on the chart, but all about the 200 moving average. Check it out. Zooming in on the last bear market. And this is like really probably one of the best things that we can watch right now. The volatility of Litecoin is going to continue. And for stabilization, right? For like to keep our minds sane, it's always nice to have a very focused data point that you can always look at and be like, all right, are we there yet? Like in terms of what I'm talking about now is support. Like, are we there yet? What happened? And that helps us define the crazy volatility. It helps us slow things down because it's probably gonna get wild, right? It's gonna be a wild ride. So what I'm saying is this 200 moving average is important to do that. It's important to settle the emotion of the markets when it's going crazy, and it is emotional. So we had this 200 moving average break, and we've talked about it on this channel before because this all started on May 22nd, 2015. Litecoin just strength above the 50 moving average. That was the beginning of it all. 25 days later, Litecoin had a very strong move above the 200 moving average, right? And it continued that move, and this is the move that we're currently, symbolically, if you're comparing this market to the last bear market, this is the move that we're currently in right now, right? We're talking back then, Litecoin from when it broke through the 50 moving average to that swing high was 500% gains, right? But what I want to talk about isn't really just that. It's okay, 25 days after conquering the 50 moving average, Litecoin broke above the 200 moving average and continued up until, and remember this, until it was like 340% overextended from the 200 moving average. These overextended scenarios in Litecoin and Bitcoin are the most powerful. When things get crazy in a bull market or a bear market, they are the most powerful indicators to use to accumulate and buy the dips, because you get a very strong sense of when we're going to get a strong pullback, when crypto, Bitcoin, Litecoin, whatever, is incredibly overextended. So what I want to say is this. Remember this, 25 days after conquering 50 moving average, Litecoin conquers the 200 moving average, okay? Now, let's go to where we are on the charts today. So let's do it. So we have Litecoin conquering February 8th, 2019. This was symbolic of May 22nd, right? 22nd, 2015, conquering the 50 moving average Litecoin. And we have 20, what is it? Let's see, 25, and that's not the right indicator or the right tool, date range. So 25 days, let's do it. 25 days after conquering that 50 moving average, what does Litecoin do? It conquers the 200 moving average. And, I know you're saying, okay, well, it already broke through the 200 moving average a little bit less, probably 10 days after February 8th. But this move right here, this bounce off of support on the 200 moving average was that final strong, solid move in terms of daily close above the 200 moving average that spurred the next run. And it was 25 days after conquering and showing a nice bounce off of the 50 moving average. So similarities are incredibly strong in that regard, in this move for Litecoin. I'm going to try and zoom out on the charts again so we can see these two things together, because the picture is so similar, right? Look at this picture. And we're technically, symbolically, I like to use that word symbolically because we're comparing the two. We're literally kind of living in this area right here. And it's an incredibly volatile and emotional area. So next point is this. How overextended did we say Litecoin was from the 200 moving average? Around 342% overextended. And just even take note of the 50 moving average cross above the 200 moving average. Everything in synergy with this market today, right? There's the 50 moving average cross above the 200. Boom. So we're talking 342% overextended from the 200 EMA. I'm not saying that we're anticipating this now and this is going to happen again. I just want to paint you a picture of how volatile the market was then. And yes, the potential of how volatile it can continue to be today. If we take the 342% overextended, right around there, 343, that takes us to around a $200 Litecoin, around $198 overextended from, and actually it's probably a little higher than that. So $201 overextended. If Litecoin continues to track the way it has tracked the last bear market, and it has, I don't even have to, I remember comparing the two and having to kind of sell it. I had to sell it to people that would say, you can't compare this bear market to last bear market. It's not going to play out the same. And now I don't have to try and even sell them why I'm doing it. Now we can just say, just zoom out on the chart. So far, it has played out the same. So until, and I said this, I've been saying this for months, until Litecoin just takes a different path and decides not to synergistically, with perfect synchrony, right, play out the same as it used to, right, I'm going to continue using that data. Michael Manfro, $1.99 super chat. Thank you for the super chats. Because I'll be rich in the future. Appreciate it. Right to our Launchpad Foundation. Thank you so much, Michael. And I feel like your name is new. I haven't seen you in the chat much, but I appreciate you coming by and watching. So bottom line, we're using the data from the last bear market. It's helped us so much. It's helped me personally. I don't know about all of you in getting ready and anticipating all of these moves that have been happening. Litecoin leading the way out of this bear market. It's on the screen clearly, clear as day, similar to the last one. So I'm going to continue using the data. But the question remains, how overextended will Litecoin get from the 200 moving average? So if I want to point this out to you too, because if we zoom in and we look at how overextended it currently is, Litecoin is right around 93%, right, overextended from the 200 moving average. Now, if we look at the last market, the last bear market, and zoom in, and we look at, okay, well, when Litecoin was making its move through that 200 moving average, then when it took its first breather, how overextended was it, right? And we can look, and it was right around 70%, 60 to 70%, came back down, back up, took a breather, around 100% overextended, right? It's around where we are now, also through previous level of resistance, right? And we'll go back now where we are. Check it out. Around 100% overextended, little under 100%, broke through this previous level of resistance, you know, that like $50, $55 area where we were trading sideways for a while. It was a big area to break, and we broke through it. And now, right now, at least currently on the very short time frame, Litecoin taking a break right now, right? We came down, hit the 70s, and right now Litecoin around $87. So everything, all the volatility, at the very least right now, we are in this moment of calm. It's like we just went through a thunderstorm in the ocean, and now we're in a moment of calm, and there are no crazy waves for now. Because I do not believe, as I mentioned, here's Bitcoin on the 4-hour, $5,014. I do not believe $5,000 is going to be a thing. I don't think it's going to be something you're going to be reading articles about for months, like we've been reading for the $4,000 area, or previously the $6,000 area. This is going to be something way different. And I think we're going to either break to the upside or downside. Do not think we're going to be trading around 5,000 or testing it as resistance for that long. So we have a super chat. The Liquid Canvas, another super chat. Thank you for the Launchpad Foundation. Liquid Canvas, appreciate it. What do you guys think about Bob Lucas? And you guys can perhaps answer in the chats if you know what Liquid Canvas is talking about. Bob Lucas, 4-year cycle starting. Anybody see that? Dan's biggest fan, good hair day. I'm actually getting a haircut tomorrow because my hair has been giving me problems. It's getting so long. We have Benji donated 0.25 LTC. Dan, you too good. Thanks for what you do for the community. This is for your foundation. Dude, Benji, I appreciate you so much, man. I really do. I love seeing your stuff on Twitter, and I thank you for that Litecoin or the Launchpad Foundation donation. LTC, mind you. Thank you so much. It really just means a lot. And hopefully I'll be able to meet you one of these days as well. So I know Sarah and I would both like to meet you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So what was I talking about? I don't even remember. Bitcoin testing 5,000 for a long time. And you can even see right now it's like hovering just below 5,000. And you can totally tell if you zoom in on the 4-hour charts, you can just totally tell the market has no idea what it's doing, right? If you zoom out and you just look at every piece of consolidation after kind of a significant move, upside, downside, whatever, it doesn't look like this. This is just all over the place. This 4-hour candle says it all with, on the Bitcoin at the very least, a price range from top to bottom of 10% on the 4-hour. And then on Litecoin on the 4-hour, I know I have a 4-hour chart open. Litecoin on the 4-hour, which leads always in volatility, this 4-hour candle right here, we call it 15%, followed by this candle, 12%. So we're talking 27%. Oh, this is an hourly chart too, guys. So we're talking these 3 hours alone, the volatility for Litecoin, 22%. So I think you get my point. We need some stability. We need some consolidation. So at the very least on the short term, nice to see Litecoin consolidating, trying to consolidate slightly above the 50 moving average. Hopefully that transfers and portrays itself on the 4-hour charts. And then Bitcoin, if you look at Bitcoin right now on the 4-hour charts, maybe we'll see some more some smaller ranges for Bitcoin being traded between, you know, a less price range, right? So like for instance, this candle right here, 3 to 4% is way more typical, right? So we see some consolidation. We set up some type of pattern that we can track on the 4-hour. I'm sure there's patterns on the very short time frames, but I'm not looking at them. We set up a pattern, we consolidate into a pattern on the 4-hour, and then we can talk about, all right, what are our targets on the 4-hour? On the very short term, we don't always do technical analysis on the short term on this channel. We most often are doing longer term analysis, but right now we're in a pretty critical and important area, I think, for everybody, as everybody's wondering what's going to happen next. There's so much chatter going on. So, and I guess I'll wrap up the Bitcoin piece by just saying, you know, and I talked about this last night when we hadn't even hit this $5,200 target yet. I talked about seeing resistance up in this area, the $5,200 target and this upper trend line. And then from there, probably getting resistance and consolidating, or at least bouncing around between that resistance area and this 200 moving average for Bitcoin. So in that $4,600 area, we didn't hit $4,600, but this is a nice area or a nice pattern to even anticipate for a setup, right? So that's something we will definitely anticipate. It's something we'll track. This pattern might not play out. I can end this live stream, or even while I'm doing this live stream, we could simply just, break through the upside and we could be at $5,500 in a matter of minutes. But this is certainly what I'm anticipating, at least on my end, probably more than anything else. Some consolidation right now for Bitcoin. But time will tell. Probably will only take hours to even figure that out. I have a chart that I think a lot of you would like to see. $1.99 from Samir. We're right yesterday, or we're right 16%, 20%. Samir, I'm having trouble understanding that super chat. But I will say this, Samir, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, and the LAUNCHPAD Foundation appreciates it too. But I really, we were right yesterday, or we were right 16, 20%. I don't know what that means, dude. Appreciate it. So let's check this out. I think I have a chart that I think all of you would like to see. And I got a comment. Where was that? Litecoin Master said, Dan, can you chart Bitcoin golden cross projection? So you really want me to really get ahead, like get into it a little bit. I think we could probably chart it time-wise even, but I would need to take time to do that because it definitely takes time. However, picture perfect scenario for the cross that everybody wants to see, which is this 50 moving average cross, right? Above the 200 moving average. So it's simply like something like that. That's what everybody wants to see. Picture perfect for that to happen in a healthy way is what I'm saying. Is Bitcoin to test this 200 moving average? So right now that 200 moving average is right around $4,600, right? And then from there, see support above the 200 moving average. It'll lift up that 50 moving average, right? So even if this pattern that I have projected on the screen plays out, then the 50 moving average will catch up. All we would need from there is a bullish break of some sort for Bitcoin. This could be in May sometime, right? And we'll get a cross above the 200 EMA. So it really depends on the momentum and on the continuation of the bull run that Bitcoin has been on in the last couple of days. Depends on a lot of things. But the evidence is there that it very well could happen. Andy Pro 500, $5 super chat. Thank you for sharing your gifts. Andy, thank you, man. I really appreciate you. Your screen name seems new to me. I appreciate you coming by. I really thank you for the super chats. It means a lot, and it is very encouraging as we try and get this LAUNCHPAD Foundation going and doing some cool things this year, 2019. So thank you. Bitcoin, zoom out on the daily. I think, just see if this is the right chart. It's the right chart, all right. Now let me zoom back in, everybody. Thanks for your patience. Okay. So, I'm not going to go back and forth between charts, but you have May 22nd, 2015 right here. Bitcoin not doing anything special, right? But for Litecoin, it was doing something special. It was making its move, and Bitcoin shortly followed. It's very similar to the charts these days. If you look at February 8th, 2019. That is kind of similar to this part of this chart, right? And just for context, on time-wise, because, you know, Litecoin Master was just asking about the 50 moving average cross, time-wise, we can use this for context. We can say, all right, from that move Litecoin made that really spurred the move for Bitcoin, which you see on the screen, we have two crosses happening. We have, that's not the right, I keep doing that. We want date range. From that date, we had a cross 53 days after, right? And then we had a cross 115 days, right? And then we had a cross 159 days. So 150, 116, and 50, let's call it. And so what we can do is we can kind of go and we can check out Bitcoin and we get some context to timelines here. And we can say, okay, let's do it from February 8th, right? Because that's the context point we just used for that last bear market. And we go to February 8th and we take a couple different crosses that Bitcoin had. And I did it again. Percentage, no. Unbelievable. February 8th, right? So here's our 50. So Bitcoin moving slower than it did then. So this was our first cross for Bitcoin. And this could be actually a good thing that this is happening. Because Bitcoin had a cross of the 50 moving average back below the 200 moving average if we look at that chart. And then 116 days later, this could be more on par with the type of cross that we might get, right? Depending on how Bitcoin moves, how slow it moves to the upside. And then we had another one around 150 days, and this was the bullish one, right? That takes us to July. So that kind of gives us some timelines in terms of, you know, depending on what goes on, right? The market can move way quicker, and we can get a cross well before the final bullish cross, 50 moving average above 200, well before July. In our long-term chart, if you zoom out, that's kind of, and let me try and go there right now. You can see end of summer is kind of when we had Bitcoin kind of beginning its uptrend, right? So yeah, July, August. So if this type of momentum continues for Bitcoin, it could happen sooner. However, the biggest thing that we can take that's very important from that last bear market is this. Bitcoin did struggle, and in the long term, it looks like a healthy struggle, but it struggled to get that final 50 EMA cross above the 200 EMA. It's not like it crossed one time and that was it, right? There was a ton of volatility, and it's probably the best thing we can all prepare for, right? So if we get the 50 moving average cross like this in 50 days, in 30 days, in 100 days, we could see volatility from whatever swing high we get to make that happen. I keep doing this, man. Price range from swing high to swing low in that last bear market, 35% to the downside. We will certainly, if we get a 50 moving average cross, be anticipating that dip, right? We'll be doing technical analysis, and we will get clues if something like this happens, a daily close below the 50 moving average. That's not a good thing after you have a 50 moving average cross above the 200 EMA right here. You get this daily close? No, you want to see support above the 50 moving average after a cross. This is what you want to see. And this is what we'll want to see after this 50 moving average cross, like Bitcoin revisits 50 moving average and bounces back up it. So that's what we want to see, but we have to just watch how it plays out because that could happen at any time. The chart I wanted to show everybody that I think you will like is this one. It's simple. It's the Litecoin, Bitcoin pair. It's the LTC, BTC pair. I see Rob in the chats. I'm pretty sure he loves this. I'm pretty sure he loves charts. Rob loves the charts. Rob D over there in the chats. He loves the charts, and I'm pretty sure he loves LTC, BTC charts. And you can just see it, right? And Litecoin is 27% away from what I would say is kind of like this average of all-time highs. Litecoin is 27% in this crazy volatile market is not that high, but One thing is true, and this is probably the most interesting thing to me, because Litecoin has kind of matured so much, and I don't know if it's matured to the point where it's getting the what's the word? The respect of Bitcoin maximalists, but it's matured. It's made moves. It continues to make moves. The community continues to grow. The technology continues to be more foundational, planted firm. And as that happens, I'm really curious to see how this plays out. Because if you look at the chart, every time Litecoin had a swing high on this chart zoomed out, right, it really did not do well against Bitcoin. And since December, I mean, we're talking, it hasn't been that long, right? It really has not been that long since December. It's only April. Like 4 months, Litecoin has made some awesome moves. And it's done it in a really healthy way. But what I'd be really curious to see is, are we going to get a similar rejection? I guess at the end of the day, it's my question. Are we going to get a similar rejection on the LTC BTC pair, right? Where we're kind of, we're now back down here, maybe the average of swing lows, right? Are we going to be stuck in this pattern forever? And you can see it, I mean, it's pretty clear. It's not exact. It's not perfect. But you can really see, if you take maybe an average of swing highs to an average of swing lows, you really have this channel right here. And the question that really is on my mind is it always going to be like that, right? And I don't think it's going to be. I think Litecoin strength is going to surprise a lot of people out there, and we won't know until it happens, though, right? So I think the first target for that is like right here on this chart. It's not exact. I did this line really quick, but seriously, 0.023, right around there. If we start really breaking that level, and actually start seeing sideways consolidation in that range, it could go on for a while, right? That could go on until 2020. I don't care. But if we actually saw stabilization of some sort at a swing high, it's not something we've really seen on the LTC BTC pair. So wherever the top is for this swing high, even if it's here, if it's here, if it's here, what I really want to see is stabilization. I do want to see sideways trading. I want to see sideways trading, and that's going to show strength for LTC BTC pair. I want to see the 50 moving average, the 200 moving average, just looking kind of boring, right? Just kind of sideways. That shows healthy consolidation and stability. And then from there, heck yeah, let's have another bull run for Litecoin, and let's get to like, 0.25 or 25% Litecoin to Bitcoin, right? Everybody wants Litecoin to be a quarter of a Bitcoin. Let's get there. I don't think that's gonna happen. Assad, what's up? Assad, what is up? Dan the man, thank you for keeping us above water during bear markets. Thank you for keeping me above water, man. Your support here, like you guys just hanging out with me when I do live streams, your comments in the videos I do, like that helps me keep my head above water. It keeps me motivated to keep doing videos and stuff. And it means a lot. Like you guys support me just as much as I try to support you. So thank you. So that was a 999 super chat from Assad. So thank you so much, dude, for our Launchpad Foundation. It's been a sweet last couple nights, last couple live streams for Launchpad Foundation. And I thank all of you. I really do. So yes, that's it. That's LTC BTC pair, and appreciate all you guys as well. So we'll see what happens, right? I think I guess you guys in the chats are talking about inverse head and shoulders on this LTC BTC pair. I'm trying to see it, but it's tough. It's tough for me to see because I don't think I'm seeing what you're seeing unless you kind of go to the monthly. But this little thing right here is kind of screwing me up. But that could have played out to be an awesome inverse head and shoulders. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. I think that's what you guys are looking at. But I don't see it mainly because of this little area right here. That break right there would have been awesome, an awesome play for an inverse head and shoulders. But it kind of got busted when we got rejection from the neckline. That's my thing. That's my opinion. So that's it, everybody. You all rock. What a crazy day for crypto. I can't believe Litecoin was at $99 and then went down to $70, like $75, $76. I'm saying I can't believe it. I can believe it. This is tradingview.com for anybody that is wondering. That is what I'm using. So everybody, let's do it. I'll end it how I started it. Zoomed out this time. Zoomed out on the monthly chart. The harmony, the art that is before our eyes. Truly not rocket science either. Just patterns, just flow, just movement, just support, just resistance. We're the eyes that gathers the data, and we filter it with our minds to make our decisions. And hopefully that's what you all are doing, filtering with your minds to make your decisions on what to do, not listening to YouTubers. Don't listen to YouTubers. Take their data, but don't listen to what they tell you to do. So that's it. Let's track it. Follow me on Twitter if you're on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, everybody go create an account. I'm telling you, there's some cool people over there, and it's easy to connect with people. It's easy to tweet to people that you might want to bounce some things off of and get their opinion. And this is definitely a growing community over there. So get on Twitter. I obviously can't do a YouTube video all the time when things are moving and cruising along with charts and price, but I can totally take out my phone real quick and do a tweet, which is what I do. So go on Twitter, just get an account, and hang out with us over there. Some of these guys, John Moore, Litecoin Master, Rob D, Poseidon Lou, John Kim Official. I never heard of that guy on Twitter. Does anybody know if he's on Twitter? John Kim Official. His name sounds familiar. His name sounds really familiar. What's up, John? Steven Herzog, all these guys. Connect with us on Twitter. Follow me on Crypto Capital Venture on Twitter. Follow John Kim. Follow Steven Herzog, Litecoin Master, Rob D. And that's about it. That is about it. Appreciate all of you coming by April 3rd. Hang in there. Remember, just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. John Kim, I wanted to ask, are you going to the, there's a blockchain conference in Philly that we're going to. I know Charlie's going, and I feel like you should be there. Being's your Charlie's bodyguard. John, if you're going to be there, you better message me so we can meet up. So that's it, everybody. I hope you have an amazing rest of the evening. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll be doing another exciting video tomorrow if price goes crazy. If not, whatever. We'll still be doing a video. I hope you all have a great night. I will see you in the next video. God bless.